second.
Sure. Okay, now we are live. Don't worry, I'll make the introduction. Okay. Let me just... Buenas noches, amigos de Relatos de Pesadilla. Les mando pues un abrazo acá desde Texas. Agradecido porque nos acompañen.
Buenas noches.
Ay,
amigos de Relatos de Pesadilla.
Amigos, pues miren, esta es una nueva mecánica que vamos a trabajar y estoy muy contento por el invitado del día de hoy. Es uno de mis favoritos. En realidad, es alguien que me inspiró en realidad, su manera de trabajar me inspiró a mí a abrir este canal. La mecánica que vamos a hacer, amigos, es de que yo les voy a explicar ahorita en español y esperamos audiencia en inglés, ya que nuestro invitado pues, es 100% inglés. Entiende un poquito español, pero toda su audiencia es en inglés. Entonces, así va a ser la mecánica. Les recuerdo, ahí está mi número de teléfono. Si estás en Estados Unidos es 956-307-2332. Si estás fuera de Estados Unidos, cualquier lugar, México, Japón, Rusia, la Antártida, donde sea, agrégale el 001. Recuerda, 001-956-307-2332. Háblanos, danos comentarios porque tú has visto los videos de nuestro invitado, que la verdad es un crack para narrar historias. ¿Qué le quieres preguntar a él? Lo que le quieras preguntar. Tú haz la pregunta en español y lógicamente yo se la voy a traducir. Recuerda que después de eso, pues tengo que colgar para que tú escuches su respuesta, ya que él te va a poder escuchar, pero cuando él te conteste, tú no lo vas a poder escuchar. Otra cosa muy importante, si estamos platicando y tú me marcas, no te preocupes, yo voy a contestar, pero si nuestro invitado está hablando, contestando algo, o yo estoy traduciendo, te pido que seas paciente y no me cuelgues, porque ya saben, no quiero interrumpir la entrevista. Y ya cuando yo termine de traducir, termina él, traduzco, y luego ya recibimos la llamada. Ahora voy con la audiencia en inglés. Okay, guys, welcome to Relatos de Pesadilla. I know you're here because of this guy. You know him, of course, and I know you're here because of him. And I know he's one of your favorites. It's mine too. And let me explain how it's gonna work. So most of my audience is in Spanish, so I have to do a bilingual interview. So don't worry. There is my phone number. If you are in the US, just dial 956-307-2332. What do you want to ask this guy? Any comments, compliments, anything, ask him, anything. So I want to let you know that please be patient in case you call us. And he's answering a question, and I remember that I have to translate his answers. So just please be patient. Don't hang off. And then I'll receive the phone call. Okay, but I will answer ASAP. Okay, just to let you know. Ahora, amigos, vamos a darle la bienvenida a nuestro amigo. La primera pregunta que le voy a hacer es que nos hable de quién es Mick Dark. Mick, okay, buddy. First, thank you. Thanks a lot. And my first question is, first, how are you doing? And then, who is Mick Dark? Tell us about him.
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for having me. Estoy feliz de hablar contigo. Muchas gracias. Buenos días. So thank you for having me. I'm really, I think it's very, very cool that we have this brand new audience that I've never ever really experienced before. It's great that to be here with you, and it's great to have this conversation. And it's actually the first conversation I've had that was on Vigio. So it's pretty cool. Thank you very much. I'm doing very well. And Mick Dark. Well, Mick Dark is a persona, clearly. I'm sure there are people really called Mick Dark. I think there's an Australian politician named Mick Dark, but so yeah, it's Mick Dark is just a persona that I have that I use for the stories, because I think it sort of encapsulates and bundles sort of the spirit.
So let me translate to them. Okay. Sure. Nos comenta Mick que primero está agradecido con nosotros de haberlo invitado, que es la primera vez que está en un video en este estilo y nos agradece. y que él no conoce, él ahorita está contento también de conocer esta nueva audiencia. Y nos comenta él que, bueno, Mick Dark es el nombre de un poeta australiano y ya nos va a hablar acerca de él. Okay, buddy, please go forward. Thank you.
No problem. So yeah, so it's something that about a year ago I started to do. I put it together. I come from sort of a background of audio production. My father has just celebrated his 50th year in voiceover and audio production. He's a record producer, so growing up, I've kind of learned that whole thing. You know, on the ways to manipulate your voice and the ways that you need to sort of put forward a good story arc and that sort of thing. So it was taught to me. Yeah. So I love it. I enjoy it. And a massive horror fan.
Okay,
So
cool.
it really helped me. Yeah.
Awesome. Let me just. Okay. Nos comenta Mick que viene de una familia que se dedica a lo mismo, a hacer voces. Su papá inclusive tiene 50 años en ese ramo. También tiene una compañía de disquera, de grabar discos. Y fueron desenvolviendo este detalle. Y bueno, está él muy contento le gusta mucho lo que hace. Y es obvio, se nota. Okay, Mick, go forward.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that I do this in a way that I'm going to give you enough time to translate, because I'm probably going to fill you up with so much information and you're going to have to go back and try to remember it all and translate
it.
So,
but it's okay.
So I apologize. Yeah.
No, it's okay. Don't worry. Like,
okay.
You know, even I try to let them know the meaning that you are trying to tell us. But it's okay. Go forward. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, so I do this sort of, it's something that I really, really love. I've always loved horror. I've spent many nights with my headphones on listening to guys like, B. Busta and Creeps McPasta and listen to Chilling Tales. And so I just decided that it's something I love doing. Like, I love audio production. I love horror. And yeah, so I just kind of put it together. And last year I launched a channel. Wasn't very active, so I just slowly started to, I guess it was really during COVID. I had a little bit of time. I work on my day life is completely different than my night life. I'm a director with a strategic intelligence company, and in the day and in the night I kind of play around with with the voices and of course the production, and it's a bit of a grind. It's a lot of work, because I really feel strongly about creating an atmosphere in the in the stories, to make sure that people really feel immersed in them. So I don't just narrate, I perform them with as much emotion as I can. And awesome. Yeah, and I think that every moment should have the right amount of special effects or sound effects, so you can feel like you're actually there, so you can listen with your eyes closed and really feel like you're walking with that person, or you're hearing that door open and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's important to have that.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. Okay, nos comenta Mick que bueno, le dio COVID del año pasado, abrió su canal de YouTube, la cual no la ha tenido muy activo, y nos comenta también que pues su estilo a él le gusta mucho. Él escuchaba, donde yo lo conocí también, Chilling Tales for Dark Nights, que significa, recuerdan ustedes, yo también he contado historias de ellos, mencionado la fuente, que significa cuentos espeluznantes para caballeros de la noche. Ese es uno también de mis canales favoritos, donde yo conocí a Mick. Comenta algo de Pasta, Terror Pasta, nunca lo había escuchado, y comenta que él se basó en eso, le gustó mucho, y que luego ya se enfocó más él en actuar, en hacerte sentir. Ustedes lo han notado cuando escuchan sus historias, y a mí me tiene así. A él le gusta mucho que tú sientas la historia, cómo interpreta las diferentes voces. Y esa es una pregunta que le iba a hacer. Le voy a preguntar ahora a Mick si él hace sus voces. Okay, you mentioned that, Mick, and that was one of the questions that I have for you. So all the voices, the little girl, the little boy, a guy who is remembering his younghood or his childhood, and the old guy, the killers, the monsters, all of them is you?
Yeah, I do. Every voice, rarely you'll hear like an additional voice. Like, for example, I'm writing a story now. I just finished writing a story because, as you know, I write a lot of the stories myself. So you'll see them. I have quite a few coming up, and I've got some that are already on the channel. And of course, on Chilling Tales, on the Mick Dark series on Chilling Tales. So I write all the stories, and when I do, I try to, I try to make sure that I don't overstep. Nobody wants to hear me doing 25 voices, and I'm trying to create something new. So I try to make sure that I I hate saying that I try to leave out as many female parts as I can, only because it's a bit selfish, because I can't do a lady's voice very well, and I try, and I use filters. I use filters, obviously, to increase the pitch of my voice, and the depth of my voice. If I'm talking, there's 4 friends talking, I'll do all 4 friends, but I'll do some myself, like that'll sound different, but others where they don't sound as much, they're not as unique, I'll try to change the pitch on them and that sort of thing.
Okay, cool. Let me just, I'm sorry, let me stop you so I can
of course.
Nos comenta Mick que sí, él hace todas las voces, inclusive las que hemos tenido el honor de traducir, las voces son de él. Comenta él que él no quiere, cuando trabaja para Chilling Tales for Dark Nights, en la serie donde yo lo sigo, donde yo lo sigo a él, donde yo lo conocí, comenta él que inclusive él procura no provocarse o no empujarse, o porque dice que también es complicado hacer muchos caracteres, muchos personajes, y es complicado hacer tantas, y aparte él evita hacer la voz de mujer, porque bueno, se le dificulta un poco, pero que aún así a veces usa filtros, lo hace no por ser machista, no, lo hace porque se le complica mucho la voz de mujer, entonces las hace, pero casi siempre usa filtros, pero todo lo demás sí procura mucho hacer donde haya pocos personajes, 4 o 5, inclusive hay uno muy bueno donde están, bueno, luego la voy a traducir, está muy buena, de unos chavos que van a una casa embrujada, está bien demoníaca y la cuenta muy bien, y son 4 amigos. Entonces nos comenta Mick que ese es su estilo, y que bueno, número 1 eso, que él sí hace todas las voces, pero que pues intenta él hacer personajes que no sean demasiados, para que también a la gente también no le cause confusión y sea más clara la historia. Okay, buddy, go forward. I'm sorry.
So, well, I mean, the thing is, it's not just the voices. I try to do accents as well, and many times I fail miserably. I get people commenting that, please don't ever do that again. I'll do an Irish accent. I'll be like, there's a monster over there. We have to go have to kill him with a knife and stuff like that. And then I'll try to do a Scottish accent. Then I'll try to do an Australian accent. Then I try to do a British accent, and it's just it's really cringy for me.
Cool. Let me explain that to them. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Me comenta a mí que eso es muy importante, amigos, por eso lo tuve que detener. Comenta él que ha habido casos donde procura los acentos, que lo han regañado, que le han dado comentarios de que por favor no vuelvas a imitar a un australiano, a un británico, pero que aún así pues tiene que practicar. Pero está chistoso salir cómo él tiene que ir practicando algunas cosas, porque dice que también batalla un poquito cuando hace los acentos, y sí se nota. Okay, buddy, go forward. Thank you.
So it's so when I write stories, I try to write stories that are easiest on me, knowing what I have to go through to get the stories out. But I try not to make it too easy on me, because I don't want to take the easy way out. I've got a story that I'm writing now. I finished writing, I finished voicing, and I'm just editing now. It's a story about Libyan migrants. It's about 6 Libyan migrants that are trying to travel from Libya, from a port in Libya, to Italy or Malta, and along the way they encounter a ghost ship.
Let me tell them that. Okay. Nos comenta Mick que inclusive cuando él está haciendo, porque otra cosa que no les dije que se me pasó, él escribe sus historias, la mayoría. Él escribe, él actúa, él hace las voces, que inclusive está muy interesante para esperarlo, amigos. Igual luego yo sé que luego para que me autorice a hacer la traducción, pero tiene una historia que él está preparando sobre unos migrantes libaneses que están escapando de su país, porque ustedes saben todo el problema que hay ahí. Entonces, durante su viaje, intentar huir de la guerra que hay en el Líbano, pues se encuentran
Libya.
con Libya. Yeah, Líbano.
Lebanon.
Spanish
Not Lebanon.
Sí, Líbano.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. Some
Sorry.
people, well, Libya, it's in
Lo siento.
Africa. Is that the Africa one or the Asian?
Yes, North Africa. North Africa.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
you're
North
right.
Africa.
I'm sorry. It's Libya. Okay, no, you're right.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
Libya, no, it's the Asian. I'm sorry. Okay, it's
Yeah,
Libya,
that's
perdón.
okay.
Libia, sí, cierto. Es Libia. Creo que es Liberia. Liberia, that's the right in Spanish. I think it's Liberia.
Okay.
Maybe. I guess it's Liberia, but it's okay. So es en África, amigos. Entonces es gente que está escapando por problemas que hay ahí, migrantes que están escapando de ese lugar y se encuentran con un barco, pues maldito. Okay, buddy, go forward. Thank you.
Yes. So it's an interesting story. But I have friends that speak fluent Arabic, so they do some of the voices in the background all in Arabic. So I try to keep it as pure as possible. I did a story that is on Chilling Tales that'll be featured soon. I think next week on my channel, which is called Static, where I have a friend of mine who speaks Swahili. He's from Tanzania. He speaks Swahili, and he plays a part where he's screaming in Swahili. So I try to keep it, try not to take any shortcuts, So that's why I try to add as many original voices as I can.
Swahili, it's not Thailand, right? It's
Tanzania, Kenya.
Tanzania. Okay, Tanzania.
Yeah. East Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. So that's I try to keep it as honest as I can with the voices, with the accents, with the languages and things like this, and of course with the sound effects. I try to make it as full as I possibly can. And I think the more that you do it, the easier it gets. You start creating a process. So so I choose not to just. I mean, it works for some people, and I'm a fan of a lot of narrators that just read. They have a lovely British accent or something, and then they just read a story. But I try to create. Mine's a movie. Mine's a cinematography, but done through audio platform.
Okay, let me just explain that to them. Okay, nos comenta a mí que inclusive ahorita tiene otro proyecto donde están en Tanzania, menciona él, y que inclusive tiene un amigo que habla ese idioma y hay una escena donde grita algo en ese idioma. Entonces que él intenta mantener todo lo más real posible y sí se nota. E inclusive también está comentando que hay videos, narraciones que él hace donde él está hablando y hay comentarios atrás. Y sí pasa, donde estamos platicando y se escucha que la gente está en un ejemplo, en un bar. Eso también él lo guarda. Tiene amigos que hacen las voces de atrás y están platicando y se escuchan los murmuros. Eso también él lo prepara. Y sí, cuando ustedes ven las historias, es donde él comenta que él trabaja para Chilling Tales for Dark Nights, ese canal que les digo, recomendable, que es el de cuentos espeluznantes para caballeros de la noche. Y nos comenta él que es como él trabaja y que tiene mucha admiración por narradores que son muy buenos en hacer el acento británico y todos los acentos, que es algo que él tiene que trabajar muy duro. Mick, just want to remember that. Okay. Another question. Let me explain in Spanish what I'm going to ask you. Le voy a preguntar a Mick que si él, aparte que hace las historias, si él lo buscan para hacer las historias o él busca las historias para publicarlas. Es lo que le voy a preguntar. Okay, Mick, so people guess to you, like for example, Chilling Tales for Dark Nights, they go and ask you to do the story or you go to them with the story?
No, the arrangement that I have or had is that what happens is I send the stories. We have an arrangement that I will provide a certain amount per month. So I send the stories to Chilling Tales to Craig Groshek, and then whatever I send, Craig puts up. I know what I need. The parameters that I have to work on. So things like, I try to keep it more than 20 minutes for the stories. The smaller ones I put on my own channel, and then that's it. So I just send them, and he creates the cover art and he puts all the information in, and he features it. So it's great exposure for me. And but now I'm really focusing on my own channel. It's very, very small right now, as you'll see. It's we're probably at about 400.
No, but you're gonna grow really fast,
I hope it's exponential. I hope I hope that by the end of the summer we've got 1,000. By the end of the year we have 10,000. I hope that it grows quickly.
Yeah, I know you're
I hope, and I'm going to put in the work to make sure that people have a home to come to for horror. And there are a lot of them, but I think, and I don't want to sound arrogant because I'm really not, is that I think it's kind of unique. I think there are a few that create this complete immersion experience, not just narrate, and which is great for some. I love to fall asleep to just narration. I don't like big booms and bangs and things like this, but some people do, and that's what I created for.
Cool. Let me just explain to them. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Amigos, nos comenta Mick, ya ven que le pregunté eso. Él comenta, él tiene un convenio, tiene un contrato o un acuerdo con este canal, excelente canal, Chilling Tales for Dark Nights. En YouTube tiene arriba de 200,000 suscriptores, pero en podcast, no, en podcast son unos monstruos. Tienen, no sé si estén, how many they have on podcast? Like over 2 million, right? Followers. Chilling Tales.
Followers on the
podcast.
I don't know about the podcast. The YouTube channel has about
they have 200, over 200 because I'm a follower.
370,000 subscribers.
Oh, wow. So, ya subieron a 300,000 amigos. Ok, Chilling Tales. Entonces, comenta él que él tiene el convenio. Él se encarga de, conforme a lo que él acuerda con ese canal, él envía sus historias. Ellos hacen todo el trabajo, el fondo. Él manda ya también el sonido, pero ellos lo proyectan y todo. Y es así como yo lo conocí. Comenta él que también ahorita lo que va a hacer él es también dedicarse a su canal. Comenta él que lo abrió el año pasado, pero por lo mismo el trabajo, pues, y le dio COVID, pues también él no le puso mucha atención a su canal, pero ya lo está haciendo. Entonces su intención es ahorita llegar a 1,000 y que aproximadamente él espera. Dice que no se quiere escuchar arrogante o presumido, pero él cree que unos 6 meses ya puede llegar aproximadamente a 10,000 y no lo dudo con ese talento que él tiene. Okay, Mick, I have another one. So, let me just check. Le voy a preguntar, amigos, qué tipo, porque ustedes saben que hay terror, pero qué tipo de terror le gusta, es lo que le voy a preguntar. Ustedes saben que existe paranormal, existe terror tangible, que el que yo le digo, está el terror del fenómeno ovni, es lo que le voy a preguntar. Okay, Mick, what kind of horror or horror stories do you like? Because there's a lot of styles. Which one is your favorite?
Yeah, horror kind of diverges into a lot of different themes and styles. Sort of my DNA is really centered on honestly, there's not one, but I enjoy the feeling of the creepiness of the woods and the forest and the sea and nature, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So I love
le gusta lo tenebroso, lo tenebroso, lo raro, del bosque, the woods, and what else?
Like forest and the sea, the dark sea and the forest,
okay.
and the like a lake area or an abandoned building, things like this, things where your sensory perception comes into play, where you're focusing on sound and things like this.
Okay.
What I don't like, I love werewolves, I love ghosts, I love vampires. I can take or leave. But what I don't like, and what I don't really want to get into, and I have a few authors asking me to read some stories, but I tell them very kindly that it's not my thing, is that I don't like slasher type stuff. I don't like visceral, gory, someone with one paragraph describing how someone's being chopped up with an axe. It's not my thing.
Awesome.
I don't enjoy it. Yeah.
Cool. Ok, nos comenta Mick, aparte de que le gusta el terror, lo tenebroso, y sí lo entiendo porque así son sus historias. En el bosque, ustedes saben que en el bosque pasan muchas cosas en el bosque, en las casas abandonadas, en edificios abandonados, en barcos, en todo eso le gustan mucho los sonidos, que vas a un lugar y no hay nadie y escuchas ruidos, le gusta toda esa intensidad. Y lo que dice que le gustan los hombres lobos y le gustan esos personajes. Pues el vampiro, el Drácula, más o menos no es lo suyo, pero tampoco lo evita, pero no es su favorito. Pero que sí le gustan los hombres lobos y todo eso. Y lo que no le gusta, él siempre dice que le han llegado con propuestas, con historias para que él las trabaje, pero que él desgraciadamente les dice que pues no es su estilo, no le gustan. A él no le gusta lo grotesco, una persona muerta por un hachazo, lo grotesco, el horror o lo grotesco, lo asqueroso, eso no es el estilo que utiliza Mick Dark, que es eso, un descuartizado, un degollado, todo ese tipo de terror no es el estilo de Mick. Let me just remember, amigos, les recuerdo el teléfono. Si estás en Estados Unidos, 956-307-2332. Si estás fuera de Estados Unidos, agrégale el 001-956-307-2332. And for our English audience, remember, guys, my phone number, it's in Texas. If you are in the US, 956-307-2332. And if you are outside the US, just add 001-956-307-2332. Whatever you want to make a comment or whatever you want to ask Mick, well, he's here. Okay, Mick. So, let me just. Okay, I already asked you if you make all your voices. You already told me. And okay. Who is your? I know maybe it's gonna be a difficult one. Le voy a preguntar a Mick quién es su narrador favorito. Maybe he got it. Who is your favorite storyteller?
My favorite storyteller. Okay, in which way? Like an author
Whatever,
or online?
anything.
Online?
Well, I guess in a horror, and whatever in horror, I get horror.
Oh, in horror, like somebody like me that narrates like that sort of. Oh man, that's a tough one. I mean, God, I can't say one. There's the guys from Chilling Tales. Honestly, you got Otis Jiry, who is an absolute legend, or Otis Jiry, sorry, it's an absolute legend, and a fellow Canadian. He's got the most unique voice. Now, I've never found Otis to be chilling or scary when he speaks, but he's soothing. It's just that he immerses you in the story because his voice is so likable. Jason Hill has got this really sort of this voice where you don't know if something's going to pop out at you or not, because he keeps it very, very calm the whole way through. The other guy from Chilling Tales, from there's so many, but Drew Blood he's a great newcomer.
Who's the guy? Who's the guy who? There's a guy who made these hillbilly voices. You know, the story of hillbillies.
Yeah. Drew Blood.
Drew Blood. Okay, that guy.
Yeah, on Chilling Tales.
Yeah,
like I went. Yeah, it's sort of like talks like this. I went through the woods and
The deputy Kindle, the deputy Kindle, man, something like that. That this story of the sheriff and his deputy with the lady, all those farm people or the hillbillies.
I don't know that one. Maybe is that one of Drew's? Is that a story from?
I don't recall his name, but he's in Chilling Tales.
Okay. Yeah. Drew sort of talks like this. I went to the cabin the other day, and there was that sort of thing. It's very deep, and he sounds like Sam Shepard, the actor Sam Shepard. The big white mustache. He's in all the movies. Anyway, so he's great. I used to listen to a lot of like B. Busta, the Australian guy, who's just very simple.
Big Busta? Big or
B. Busta. Busta. B is in Bravo.
Okay.
Umbrella, Sierra Tango Alpha. He's B-E Busta. He's one of the guys I first started listening to. He's Australian. It's very simple. It's just talking. He may even be using a phone to talk into. I don't know, but he just says the words, and then you create the imagination. So there's a lot of really great ones, and there's so many up and coming. I mean, I like the British guys like Creeps McPasta. He's got a very soothing British voice. I try to do it a little bit differently in terms of the performance. I try to create the emotion in it. But the guys that narrate are very soothing. There's a lot of them. There's so many. But in addition to that, I'll let you translate.
Sure.
Sorry.
I'm not gonna be good remembering their names, but at least B. Pasta, okay. B. Pasta es uno. Comenta él que Pasta. Él es australiano. Comenta que es un narrador excelente australiano que le gusta mucho porque su estilo no usa mucho sonido de efecto, pero que con su sola voz y la manera en que él habla te mete en la historia, que eso es muy difícil. Otros que comentan Chilling Tales, no recuerdo los nombres, los mencionó, pero que sus estilos como le gustan mucho cómo ellos narran y que para él es difícil porque son demasiados. Let me just try to read the message from people here.
Sure.
Ok, amigos, los voy a leer. A ver, vamos a ver quién nos está acompañando. Quiero agradecerle a Blanca Neri, amiga, muchas gracias por acompañarnos, Blanquita. ¿Qué nos dice? Hola, Luisito, gracias y hola. Está aquí con nosotros también. Ay, Nani, ¿cómo estás, amiga? Nani. Ahí está diciendo que yes. Déjame ver, dice Nani.
Hi, Nani. Hi, Teresa. Hey,
And
Vivek.
then, yeah.
No,
What do you want to say?
Vivek is it's an Indian name, isn't it?
Nani.
Saludos, Asando. No, Vivek.
Vivek. Vivek es
Vivek.
A ver, Vivek, tu nombre es what?
Is it because my wife is Indian?
Oh, okay.
So I'm very familiar with a lot of Indian. I speak a little bit of Hindi too. So my Vivek is a very Indian name, unless it's
Indian like a
also
native
Hispanic.
or Hindu? Like India from India
No,
or
from
native?
India.
India, okay. ¿Es tu nombre
Yeah.
hindú, Vivek? Nada más igual, ahí nos pregunta Mick. A ver si nos puedes confirmar si tu nombre es es hindú. Déjame ver quién más está aquí con nosotros. Ok, Nani, nada más está saludándose aquí. Ok, aquí me están saludando. Ok, Nani, muchas gracias por acompañarnos. A ver quién más está aquí con nosotros.
Oh, there's Blanca. Hi, Blanca.
Oh, hey, Kemi Stewart is here. I'm glad that you're going to be posting on your channel more. So what are your comments about that?
I don't see that. Where is it?
Kimi. Okay, Kimi, it's
Kimmy, yes, Kimmy. I know Kimmy. Yes, of course. Hi, Kimmy. Yes, thank you. Thanks for, and Kimmy's been a massive supporter of mine. There's a handful of like hardcore supporters from Chilling Tales that now come over and follow me on my channel. Yeah, yes, exactly. And Tenzin and Bacon and Kimmy
Tencent,
and
that's the other guy. Tencent that I invited too.
Yeah. Honestly, if I get to 100,000, if I get to 10,000, I'm always going to make sure I look out for these guys and watch them in the comments and I hope that I can always make sure that I comment.
Cool.
Yeah.
Kimmy, do you want to ask something to? This is your chance. So you can call me Kimmy. I'm in Texas, so if you're in the US, just dial 956-307-2332. Estoy invitando a nuestra amiga Kimmy porque es seguidora, nos comenta Mick, que ella es seguidora desde el principio de él, que lo sigue desde Chilling Tales, como yo, pero ella tiene más tiempo que yo siguiéndolo y que son de las verdaderas fans de seguidoras de Mick. Entonces, Kimmy, this is your chance, Kim. Just call him. You can ask him, well, anything. So, this is something that le voy a preguntar a Mick cómo le va a hacer después cuando él suba, si va a poder leer a todos, porque ustedes saben que los youtubers más famosos reciben desde 2,000, 3,000 comentarios y yo creo que es imposible contestarlos. Eso es lo que le voy a preguntar. Okay, I'm doing this for over a year here in YouTube. So right now, because I am a low-profile YouTuber, I'm not that successful, but I'm fine. But for me right now, it's the thing that I like is that I can read my followers, any comments. So I know right now you do. So
yeah,
what if when you get, because I know for sure you're gonna get over 10,000, even over 100,000. I know that for sure. But then I don't know, have you seen like people from Chilling Tales receive like over, I don't know, 1,000 comments. So are you gonna be able to answer all the comments?
If you look, honestly, I'm not judging anyone, but if you look at the comments from a lot of the authors, the performers from Chilling Tales, the stuff is really, really great, and I admire these guys, but I don't know who else makes comments, but I always try to ensure that I comment on everything, even when because you look at my channel, it's very small, the comments are very few. But Chilling Tales, I used to get, I would get like 100, 120 comments, even more. And I would make sure that I always either liked it. I made sure I liked every single comment and not missed a single one. Or I comment if someone's asking a question. I always make sure I interact, and I always will try to interact.
Okay, we receive our first phone call, okay? Hello, who is this?
It's Kimmy.
How are you, Kimmy? Okay, here's Mick. What do you want to say to him?
I wanted to tell you thank you for having my name in that story. And one time it was great.
Oh,
Me
Outpost.
and
Yeah,
Fiona
yeah.
thought that was really special.
Wow, that's anything that you want to ask him, Kimmy?
When's the next story coming?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that because I wanted to make sure that there's two things that I think are really important for a successful channel. One
She's
is
not gonna be
consistent.
able to hear you. Any other question,
Okay.
Kimmy? So you can hang off and then hear his
Okay.
answer. Any other question
Okay.
do you have for him?
Nope, that sounds great.
And so your comments is
I
that
love
you're
him.
glad. Anything that you want to add, like you have to take advantage that he's
Tell
here.
him I love him. I love him dearly.
Okay, he already heard you, so I'm gonna hang off so you can listen to his answer. I really appreciate it, Kimmy. I really appreciate it that you call us. Bye bye. How about it, dude?
Okay. Yeah. So Kimmy, thank you so much. Very sweet and honestly amazing supporter throughout. So what Kimmy's referring to is I wrote a story. Well, let me just put it this way. As this core group of supporters had commented on every story I've done, and they've always said, "This is great. I love how you did this. I love how you did that," and that they really listen, and they really enjoy and they really appreciate the stories. So what I did was I said, you know what? I want to take this group of people. I think there was probably about maybe 12 or 14 um, there's a lot of people comment, but there's this core group that comment with every story.
Oh,
and
let me.
provide.
I'm sorry to stop you here. Let me just translate the question to the people, to the audience.
Sure.
Oh,
Okay.
Amigos, se me olvidó, me quedé picado. Nuestra amiga Kimi, que es seguidora de Mick, primero le habló para saludarlo, para agradecerle que él la haya mencionado en una de sus historias. Ustedes escucharon, le dijo que lo quiere mucho. Y claro que le era mencionar eso de que agradecerle a él por haberla mencionado. Ahorita lo que estaba comentando Mick es de que él tiene sus grupos tanto de seguidores, pero tiene otros con los que comenta y ha hecho un vínculo muy cercano y ya no se va a explicar y ya seguimos ahí. Sorry, dude. So go forward.
Yeah, no. So what I did was I out of all the commenters, there's this sort of one group of, and they're not friends. They are kind of friends. They talk to each other and, hey, great to see you here, and oh, I'm first, oh, I'm second, and that sort of thing in the comments. And so they interact with each other, but they follow all of the videos, and I think they follow a lot of the authors, but they're really supportive. So I thought, next story I write, I'm going to include them as characters in the story. So I did. I took them all and I created a story.
Let me explain
called
that. I'm sorry. Let me stop you there so I can let them know, because I don't want to forget that. Nos comenta Mick, como son tan cercanos estos seguidores como Kimi, fíjese que qué buena onda. Dice que en una de sus historias ya los está incluyendo sus nombres y ellos. Se me hace muy chingón eso. ¿Qué les parece a ustedes? Pero es tanto su apego hacia sus seguidores que hay historias que él ha escrito donde la menciona. Entonces hay una historia donde la menciona a ella, por eso está agradecida. Entonces él en sus historias la menciona y llevó a cabo la historia conforme a ella. Qué buena onda. Sorry, dude. Go for it. I have to let them know that, and I don't want to forget that.
Yeah, of course. Please stop me anytime when you want to.
Cool.
When you need to translate something.
Okay.
So what I've done is I created a story called The Outpost, and see, one of my favorite movies of all time, if not my favorite movie of all time, a horror, is The Thing. I love the original The Thing. It's just amazing.
The one with Kurt Russell, right?
Yeah, Kurt Russell.
Okay.
Yeah, up in the Arctic. I love the sound of cold. I love the winter. I love the sound of snow and.
I think
it's.
I don't want to forget that. For me, my favorite story. I know you don't ask me, but dude, you are one of my idols.
No, I would love to know. I would love to know.
I love the Arctic story that you make. The one that is in the Arctic. They are making a huge hole. And
that's it.
Yeah, and well, I want to let you know that I made that story. I mentioned you in that story. I did it in Spanish, and of course, I mentioned it, and then I'll send it to you. I know it's not even closer that you did. It's not that good, but I'll try. The way that you mentioned this guy was in the bathroom and he want to go pee, and he was so cold. that even he
Yeah.
felt his urine really like cold, like nice inside of him. That
Yeah.
one of some about the tremors, right? The tremors in the
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
one of my favorites.
there was like an explosion impact that he felt a compressed air around him. That
Yeah,
just sort of like
that's
it was a wave, you know. It's sort of like in Ghostbusters when that that the big explosion and then it hits across the town like
I love that. I
a
love
nuke,
that.
but it was very subtle. So
Mhm.
yeah, so that well, two things. Let me just mention two things. Is many years ago, I used to do a lot of exploration work. So I did a lot of work up in northern Canada, up and around the Arctic Circle. So I did a lot of exploration work for geophysics. So I would go with a team, a crew of people out in the bush where no human has ever been, where it was just moose and bear and a lot of insects. So I love that sort of that cold permafrost type feeling. I felt it really creepy. So I remember these little cabins that were just thrown together, well insulated, but they're kind of thrown together, and it's this prefabricated wood with these floors that were kind of hollow. So I just imagine these cabins again, where you're walking and it's just cold inside, and the walls are thin and the doors are thin, and but the place is insulated. So this is what I put that into the story.
Yeah, and we
Um,
noticed that. Okay, let me just stop you
yeah,
there, please. So,
sure.
nos comenta Mick que inclusive él ha hecho investigaciones, inclusive en unos de ustedes. Yo le hablé de mi historia favorita, que es la que yo narré ya hace como 2 meses, ustedes lo recuerdan, que les gustó mucho, la de la Antártica, donde estaban en lo congelado y que pues era un equipo de excavación, no sé si lo recuerdan, yo también conté esa historia, lógicamente en el nombre de ellos, o sea, los mencioné, nada que ver como él la cuenta. Si la escuchan, se lo voy a buscar, pero sí. You don't have that story in your channel, right? You haven't uploaded
Okay, so it's on Chilling Tales,
that. It's on Chilling Tales.
and I wanted to give it some time on Chilling Tales to rack up some. It's actually the most. If you look at all the stories of Chilling Tales over the past few years, it has the most views of any story. So it's. I think in the first 2 weeks, I think it was 30,000 views or more. It
Okay.
became a massive success.
Yeah,
So
I'm sorry to say it. It's badass story, dude. Like it's my
yeah,
favorite. And let me just, I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna let you know what I'm gonna ask you because a question pops out. Okay, amigos, les
sure.
voy a preguntar porque me está comentando él que esa historia de la Antártica llegó en poco tiempo a 36,000 vistas en este canal de Chilling Tales, un éxito total. Y yo en base a eso le voy a preguntar cuánto tiempo pasa cuando la publica este canal a que la tome, porque él dice que todavía como es reciente no la ha puesto en su canal. Es lo que le voy a preguntar. Okay, Mick. So, for example, if Chilling Tales post today your story, how much
Yeah.
time do you take to put it on your channel?
Okay, so I can put it on whenever I want to. It's my story.
Okay.
But just we have a relationship and respect. So I try to give it some time, probably usually about 30 days to 2 months. But I waited probably about 4 months, and then so I've got.
4
Listen,
meses,
let me go
amigos.
back
Él
to
espera
something.
aproximadamente 4 meses. Sorry, go forward. I'm sorry.
Let me tie in one of Kimmy's questions. Let me tie an answer into that same answer. Is that the two things, and this is something I didn't finish, but two things that I find very, very important for the success of the channel. One is the consistency, continuity, making certain that if I'm putting up a story one day and then I wait a week and then I wait a month and then I go another one day and then 2 weeks and it's all over the place, nobody wants to subscribe because you never know when something's coming and it just seems poorly put together. So I've kind of committed myself to every 3 days a new story. So that explains this. Now I have got a schedule of stories that are coming up on YouTube that are scheduled and they're sitting and waiting to go, but they're going to launch every 3 days. Now the Outpost, I can actually tell you, bear with me. The Outpost is scheduled for one second. Oh, I can't see it on my phone, but I think it's coming up by I think August 1st.
Okay.
August
Sunday.
1st. So it's coming up soon. I've got Thick Brush coming up, which is my story. Static, which is my story, which is a
That's the
zombie story.
Outpost for Chilling Tales, right?
Yeah, Outpost. Well, it's my story. I wrote it. I performed
Mm-hmm.
it. It's featured on Chilling Tales, but it'll be featured on my channel within the next week or in less than a week.
Mm-hmm.
Then I've got Werewolf Story, and then I've got Lord Lycan, and then I've got one called the Tarot Sook, which I wrote, which is sort of I'll tell you a lot of the themes, a lot of the stuff I write, not a lot, but some of the themes I write have either like Outpost have sort of an environmental or a humanity perspective. Tarot Sook is about, and I wrote this before the unfortunate discovery of all the poor, the children in Canada, of the native children.
Oh, yeah.
So,
So,
which
okay.
as a Canadian, it's not us. It breaks my heart to hear
So
it. It's
you're
just,
Canadian. I haven't. You're Canadian.
yeah, yeah, I'm
Let me let
Canadian.
them know
Yeah,
that. Let them know
sure.
because in Mexico we knew about that. Well, people in
Yeah,
Mexico.
yeah.
Well, I'm in Texas, but I'm near from
We
them. So
we knew about it a long, long time ago. We heard about these things happening, and it. But then this discovery just destroyed our hearts.
okay,
So
let them know. Ok, amigos, comenta Nick que a él le pudo mucho, inclusive va a ser una historia al respecto, sobre los niños, los nativos, niños que recuerdan ustedes, los niños nativos en Canadá, que fueron encontrados. Comenta él que a él le duele mucho porque eso no son ellos. O sea, lógicamente la ciudad, el pueblo canadiense no es así. Entonces, a él le pudo mucho, él se siente con el deber de hacer una historia en memoria a eso, lo está preparando. Y la verdad, qué buena onda. Bueno, nos confirma, él es canadiense, yo no lo había preguntado, pero ya salió otra pregunta ahí. Y también está comentando sobre, bueno, ahorita creo que nos va a terminar sobre lo de Kimi, de su seguidora, de una de sus férreas seguidoras. Pero básicamente les quería comentar eso, sí, a él le pudo mucho esa historia. Tiene otras historias preparadas, tiene una en estas semanas va a salir, de un hombre lobo, Lycan, que es también como una especie de hombre lobo. Tiene 4 historias ahí que están en puerta para llegar, que él se mantiene un estándar de 3 días crear una historia, cada 3 días ir creando una para no dejar pasar mucho tiempo. Es de lo que me acuerdo y bueno, seguimos. Sorry, Mick. I have to let them know that and I don't want to miss that. So go forward, dude. Thank you.
of course. So I wrote a story called the Tarot Sook, which is an old native demon, and it's a story about these native or Inuit, I guess, until recently. Unfortunately, in America, they're called Eskimo, but the Inuits, the native people, the first people. So they were stolen. These boys were stolen from their village and forced to work in a logging camp. Now the story is featured on, and then they sort of bring in this demon for vengeance because terrible things happen to them. So anyway, that's one of the stories I wrote that was featured
That's
on
awesome.
Chilling Tales, and then it's going to be featured on mine next week.
Awesome. Ok, dice que esa historia ya la está terminando y la va a publicar la siguiente semana.
Tarot Sook.
Tarot, ok.
Tarot Sook.
Pimp Posa, it's here. Pimp.
Oh, Pimp Posa.
You have to take advantage. Call him. That's my phone number. If you are in the US, 956-307-2332. What do you want to tell him?
She's in Italy.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, just add 001. 001.
So she's
956.
7 hours from you.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, it's early. That's a good thing that she woke up.
I'm 9 hours away from
9
you.
hours. So yeah. So for
people are probably watching and people are probably looking
6.
and seeing the sunlight outside and probably thinking,
wow, I really appreciate that. And that's a good thing. Thank you, Piposa, because like it's more earlier than her. It's like 6 o'clock. Yeah. I think it's 5 and 6.
It should be. I think. Yeah. Exactly. I think it's probably like 10 to 5.
So
to
you
7
have to take
maybe.
advantage, Pimposa. Call him 001-956-307-2332. So what do you want to tell him? Okay. Any comments? So sorry, dude. I had to let them know that she was here. So,
Yeah,
or
of course,
he.
of course.
Okay, go ahead.
So, one of the things that I enjoy doing, because I mean, the voicing is one thing, but also the writing. I've got a story. My stories take place all over the world at different places and time. I've got a Victorian horror werewolf story, Victorian England. I've got one that takes place in Michigan, current day, Tampa Bay, current day, Maine, the state of Maine, current day. Um, so Ice Age, Washington State from in the Ice Age, the Antarctic, the Mediterranean. So I try to move around the Yukon in Canada during the turn of the century. So I try to move around with places and times and that sort of thing, and then I try to incorporate what the local mythology is. I have things like alien abduction in Michigan, then I've got cults in Michigan, alien abduction in Maine, like I said, werewolves in Victorian England, demons in Yukon. So I try to move around in terms of theme, places, and time, but I always try to incorporate what the local mythos is, and then I think it's
Okay.
enjoyable for me. It makes it more exciting.
Yeah, and you have, well, to be honest, I have a political channel, and the funny thing, this is my my horror stories channel, and I have studied more here than in the political. So let me translate what you just told me. Okay, nos comenta Mick, amigos, que bueno, a él le gusta mucho todo lo de nativos y de estudiar las historias de cada lugar. Entonces dice que tiene casos donde está estudiando que ya tiene sobre lobos en Inglaterra, lo que nos mencionó ahorita acá en Canadá, de los nativos, cultos, la mayoría satánicos en Michigan, right? En Michigan, en Escocia también. Entonces, él lo que hace es también estudiar y profundizar para los temas. Hay otro que me comentó que lo olvidé. You told me what else it was called? It was you told me something about okay, you told me cults in Europe. Well, entonces
Cult, Michigan.
Yeah, cult Michigan. And the other subject, other themes? You mentioned the cult, you mentioned the England, the Scotland.
Yeah, there's werewolves in Victoria, England.
Okay, I already told
cults
that. Okay.
In Michigan. There's alien abduction.
Ándale, cuando te llevan los aliens, los extraterrestres, que se llaman abducciones, cuando te llevan también tiene historias y las está preparando.
Ancient pandemic in the Antarctic.
Okay. Las pandemias Outpost. De aquellos tiempos, aquellos tiempos cuando la Inquisición y todo, que utilizaban las pandemias para despojar a la gente pobre a los plebeyos de sus territorios, de sus tierras. Okay, awesome.
I have and I've got a story that I started writing last October, and I write little bits, and I just finished it. And it's 99 pages. It would be a very, very long read, but it's a novella, and so right now it's called The Red Forest, and it takes place in the Ukraine in the 90s in the Ukraine, and it kind of weaves in two things.
Nothing to do with the Channel drill? Nothing to do with Channel drill?
With Chernobyl? Chernobyl? Yeah. So it kind of weaves together. I hope nobody takes this story and runs with it, but it's a story about the Red Forest. So it weaves in the ancient witches of the Baba Yaga, that sort of that ancient mythos, and then it weaves in sort of current day nuclear mutation. So there's a combination of the both in the story, and it's from the perspective of a Canadian guy that moved there to work for a company, and he starts experiencing all these things because he's in Pripyat, which is on the edge of the Red Forest.
In Ukraine?
It's in Ukraine,
and that's the story over 90 pages, right? And it'll take more than
100 pages.
An hour, 100 pages. So it's gonna take like about an hour,
5 hours,
an hour and a half. 5 hours.
No, it's a 5-hour story. But I don't know if I have the endurance I don't know. I probably fatigued before I got past two.
Okay,
I
let me
did.
translate that.
Yeah,
Cool.
sure.
Let me let them know. Nos comenta Mick que tiene una historia muy cercana que la estaba escribiendo, que inclusive dice él que es 100 páginas escritas, hablando de en Ucrania. Es, un poco relacionado con lo de la explosión de Chernobyl, y comenta que pues ese en base a, le llama también el bosque rojo, donde hay también hay especie como que de brujas, cosas pues que no tienen explicación, y es sobre un científico, creo que escuché canadiense, que se va a trabajar en su lugar y empieza a experimentar pues eventos. Y muy importante, me dice que se va a llevar como unas 5 horas. Dice él que duda que vaya a tener él vaya a tener la condición para durar narrando 5 horas. Fíjense, o sea, está cabrón. Entonces ahorita en eso en base le voy a preguntar algo. Le voy a preguntar si no lo harían partes, pues para que no se canse. Okay, another question pops out. So in that case, 5 hours. So there's no way that you can make, I don't know, like 3 parts of and so you can rest.
Oh yeah. It would probably be about 5 to 6 parts.
But publish it, for example, you can say this week it's gonna be part 1, then the other week part 2, or you're gonna rest and publish it all together.
I don't know if I'll publish it. So far, it's just a story that I wrote that I enjoy, and I think it's a very interesting story. It's got a lot of twists and turns. The thing is with this is that see, I don't when I voice something. If I voice something, let's say in the morning, I get about an hour and a half, and I'm starting to I'm drained. I'm so tired. It gets very difficult. My father was as a morning DJ in Los Angeles. He was a morning DJ in Nashville, in Cincinnati. He's been all over America. My father's American, but and he used to tell me 3 hours on the radio, on the radio, and any radio person will know this. 3 hours on the radio is like 8 hours in any other job, or maybe 10 hours in any other job. Because
let me tell them that. Okay, sorry for stopping you here. Nos comenta Mick que su padre es estadounidense y que ha estado en la radio de la mañana matutino en Los Ángeles, en Cincinnati, en casi todo Estados Unidos. Y comenta
and a
que
record producer.
Y ándale, que es en la reproductora de álbumes, de récords, de cassettes.
Shania Twain.
Fíjense.
Is her first producer. Her first album.
Fíjense, fue el primer productor que le produjo a Shania Twain, la cantante de country, pop country. Sí la conozco. I know her. I know who is she. Even that I'm a heavy metal guy. I'm a progressive metal guy. I'm a Rush fan.
I love metal. I love metal too.
Okay, I love Rush.
Oh, Rush.
Of
course.
Nos comenta a mí que su papá le decía eso, que 3 horas de radio, de locución de radio, 3 horas es el equivalente a 10 horas de trabajo normal en otra posición. Es interesante, yo no lo sabía, pero bueno, creo que tú tampoco lo sabías. Y bueno, perdón que los interrumpí, pero nos sigue comentando él sobre la historia. También nos dice, le preguntaba yo de esto de las 5 horas. Comenta él que todavía no sabe qué va a hacer, o sea, la va a terminar, lo va a hacer, pues se ha pensado descansar, pero todavía lo está pensando cómo la va a publicar o qué va a hacer con esa historia larga, pero que la quiere publicar porque le gustó mucho y la verdad le ha dedicado pues tiempo y dedicación. Sorry, dude, go forward. Sorry.
No. So the reason I say this is there is actually context to why I mentioned that, is that, he used to tell me that, like I said, 3 hours on the radio is fatiguing. It's draining. You're constantly upbeat. You're constantly performing. You're constantly trying to be, lots of energy. And then by the end, you're just completely drained. So when I'm doing these stories, because I'm not just reading, I'm trying to provide the emotion, and I'm trying to create the atmosphere with my voice as much as I can. After an hour, 2 hours of reading, I can't do more than that. So my stories typically, like the longest I've done was H.P. Lovecraft, Dunwich Horror. So that was 2 hours long, and that nearly killed me. That was 3 hours of reading. And the thing is, I don't like to do parts because your voice is different the next day or in the evening. if I record in the morning and then I record in the evening, my voice changes. So in the morning, it'll be more like deep, that sort of thing like that. And then, and then in the evening, it could be a little more smooth. So I don't like to have that inconsistency. If someone's reading a story, all of a sudden my voice changes. So I'm recording one time and then I stitch it together and it just sounds completely different. So I try to keep the stories. I don't like to do long like parts. Yeah. So I had a comment. I did a story called The Tailie Po. It's on my channel. It's on Chilling Tales as well. It's a story by sort of a guy that I know. He's a professor in Indiana, and he wrote this story. It's a version of the old Tailie Po story. So I when I told the story, I missed the part that he had at the end, which was very far away from the rest of the story. It was just a little addition to the story. So I noticed that I missed it. I think Craig brought it up from Chilling Tales. And when I realized I missed it, I had to go and record that part again. And I got some guy in the comments saying, hey, listen, you should be careful when you record because your voice this part sounds like it's a completely different person because I recorded it on a different day. So I have to be very
That's cool. Let me just, that's important. Let me just let them know. Nos comenta Mick que una de las, vamos a decir, desventajas de cuando narras por mucho tiempo, cuando está uno narrando, yo no tardo tanto tiempo, creo que lo más que yo he narrado son 40, yo me arranco hablando, me tardo media hora, 45 minutos, lo más. Pero comenta él, cuando llevas narrando arriba de 2 horas o 1 hora, que la voz cambia, nos comenta él. Que inclusive, si él se pone a narrar seguido, narrar por 4 o 5 horas, o se sobrepasa, o lo que narra él en el tiempo, y luego él descansa, después la voz no le sale igual, su voz cambia, a veces más ronca, a veces, pero no es la misma. E inclusive le pasa cuando está narrando la misma historia. Si él tiene rato narrando, a lo mejor corrigiendo y todo, y quiere descansar para mañana acabar la historia, la voz no le sale igual, por el desgaste, porque él estuvo grabando, terminó, vamos a decir que se tardó 2 horas en una historia. Entonces, como él se cansó de todo, termina las 2 horas y le faltó, vamos a decir, 15 minutos para acabarla. Al día siguiente lo va a acabar y la voz no le sale igual, cambia. Entonces, que son detalles que inclusive un seguidor o una persona en los comentarios que le dijo que no vuelva a hacer eso. Él le dijo, porque tu voz en cierta parte se escucha distinto. Dijo, no lo vuelvas a hacer. Eso se lo dijo en uno de los comentarios, posiblemente de algún experto. Go forward, Jude. I have to let them know. Thank you.
No problem. I think some people are gone to bed. Buenas noches, Luis.
Okay, sí, muchas gracias. Sí, muchas gracias.
Nani.
Gracias, Nani. Muchas gracias.
So this story here, I don't know if I'm going to voice it. I don't think I have to voice everything. I think that's some that I just want to see what I can do with. Maybe I can feature it on a website or something that as a free read or something. I don't ever, honestly, it sounds ridiculous to say this. I don't do this to anything I do. It's not to make money. I don't want to write, grind and put a book together or something and put it out there just to try to make money. And you'll never ever see me on Ko-Fi or pay. I don't know, maybe Patreon if I want to fund the production part, keep it separate. But I do it because I love it. And even if it's 5 people listening, I love the comments and I love that even 5 people enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it's so I do it because I just really, really enjoy it.
Let me let them know that. That's important.
Yeah.
Okay. Nos comenta Mick que él cuando hace sus historias que no lo hace por dinero, en realidad lo hace porque le gusta mucho. Él puede meterse a Patreon, sí lo he visto, Patreon donde cobras y todo y recibes, pero que no es la intención. Posiblemente si alguna producción es cara, posiblemente lo haga, pero no se ha visto la necesidad de hacerlo. En realidad él escribe, él cuenta las historias porque lo disfruta, no lo hace por el dinero, y que inclusive él pueden haber 3, 4 personas ahí y la intención le gusta mucho los comentarios, y lo entiendo porque yo también tengo poca audiencia, pero es muy padre, todos ustedes me conocen y también le agradezco los comentarios. Le voy a preguntar ahora a Mick, ya vamos a cerrar, ya tengo más de 1 hora y le agradezco mucho el tiempo, Le voy a preguntar cuáles son sus objetivos y después le voy a preguntar ya la última pregunta que viene siendo algo que yo no le haya preguntado que él quiera agregar. So, okay, Mick. So, what I was saying, maybe I don't know if you get it, if you understood, but I was telling them that, well, everything that you just told me, and I have only a few questions. I really appreciate it because we are over an hour, and I know you have stuff to do, and I really appreciate it. But the thing is, okay, what are your goals? That's what any goals you have for this story, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I want to keep doing it. You know, I swear, if in 1 year I'm still putting out content every 3 days, like I said, the most important thing is to be consistent with the content, so you can expect stuff from me. If I go 5 days, that'll be the maximum, but 3 to 5 days, I'll always put out something new. I want to try to keep writing, but two things that are important, I think, for the advancement of the channel and to grow the channel is, like I said, the consistency, but also I'm a bit of a marketing person, so the branding is important. If you see the Mick Dark logo now on everything, it may change colors, but it always stays the same. Nike, Adidas, I was going to say Adidas. I've been living here too long. Adidas, you know, all these branding is everything. So I want to make sure that the brand remains the same and it's everyone can notice it. So yeah, I try to keep it consistent, but I think in the future, I just really want to keep trying to grow the channel. If I have 450 subscribers this time next year, if it doesn't grow, I'm happy with that. I'm happy because I know that I've got a group of people that enjoy what I'm putting out, and
Your
keep
own
doing it.
community, your own community,
Yeah,
your
exactly.
followers. Okay, let
Yeah.
me translate that. Nos comenta Mick que, bueno, sus objetivos es seguir escribiendo. Lógicamente, pueden pasar años y él quiere seguir escribiendo. Ahorita me acaba de comentar que si pasa un año y él se queda con los 450 y tantos seguidores, pues que él está contento. Está muy contento con su comunidad de seguidores como Kimi, como Pimpazo, o no se me quedó el nombre, como Bacon, Tencent, los he visto ahí, que es lo que él es feliz con eso, con su comunidad de seguidores, seguir escribiendo y va a intentar él, como lo decía, él cada 3 días estar posteando, no más de 5 días. Esa es la intención de él, seguir publicando, haciendo publicaciones en su canal. Él dice que también trabaja en lo que es especialista en el marketing. Va él también a hacer el logotipo que ustedes ven de su nombre de Mick Dark. Ese logotipo él quiere que siga, que esa marca siga como lo es con Adidas y como lo es con Nike. Quiere que pase el tiempo y esa marca mantenga la consistencia. Y ya le voy a hacer la última pregunta, que es, ya lo comenté, algo que nos quiera agregar que yo no le haya preguntado, ya para despedirlo. So, Mick, again, I'm so thankful, really appreciate it because I had to control myself.
I appreciate you, Relatos. Can I say that I really appreciate the interest you've taken in the channel, number one. Secondly, the hard work that you put in to subbing the channel. I mean, to translating the channel, putting it out to your listeners, to grow that community. And so I really, 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 really appreciate you and what you're doing. And I appreciate the audience that you have that have taken an interest in these stories. In the Spanish version, which I need to try to learn more so I can actually listen to your version. So I thank you, and I thank you for taking the time to do this. And your listeners, anyone else, I would love if they would subscribe, even if they just pop by to listen and they don't want to subscribe. I'm not pushing it, but I would love if you are a regular audience member, and I would love if anyone has an idea, maybe for a story in Texas, Mexico, maybe someplace else. You know, like I would love to hear some ideas for stories because I love to
Okay,
write
where
too.
can they contact you?
Thank you.
Where can they on Twitter? Where can they contact you to
They
let them know?
can contact me on Twitter. I'm sorry if I get one thing I mentioned in YouTube is that this is my Twitter. It's Mick Dark Voice. Unfortunately, I sometimes end up getting a little political. I talk about three things. I talk about, entertainment, like movies, horror, that sort of thing. Sometimes I get a little political. I get frustrated with people that don't treat people well. Racism, things like this. I get a little bit angry about this sort of thing. So forgive me if you see stuff in there that doesn't have to do with horror, that it gets a little bit frustrating. And thirdly, is that I talk about I like music and things like this. So I mean, all different types of things. So yeah.
Okay,
So that's it. But they can get me on yeah. But Twitter, on YouTube as well. Comments.
Cool. Ok. Nos comenta Mick primero, pues casi me hace llorar porque me agradece de que me haya interesado, de que haga las traducciones, de que los siga. Nos pide el favor, audiencia, Nani, Blanquita, los que me escuchen, amigos, que pues que le apoyemos y nos queremos suscribir, que inclusive él está interesado en aprender español. Si tienen historias que quieran compartir con él sobre México, leyendas urbanas mexicanas acá en Texas, pues cuenta conmigo. Pero igual si ustedes tienen algo que quieran compartir con él gustoso, y que pues les pido el favor, no forzosamente, si se quieren suscribir a su canal, y que pues apoyen, compartan, y que hagan los hasta en español. Yo le voy a decir que yo le traduzco. De todas maneras voy a mantener un acercamiento con él, que él también habla mucho de política también, porque él trata temas también sociales, lógicamente también de terror, y pues agradecido por el interés. Entonces, amigos, yo pues igual aprovecho, les agradezco mucho que nos hayan acompañado, y pues ya saben que nos vemos mañana. No olviden, martes de pesadilla, a las 10. Ya saben que está grabado, van a estar invitados, ya saben, Frank, el aposteador, Cristian de allá de Baja California Sur, la tenebrosa de allá de Sonora, y bueno, y Mick, ya no lo voy a decir, pero la otra semana sale Mick, pero mañana ya no lo alcancé a poner, pero para que mañana nos vean en Relatos de Pesadilla, ya saben, música, rock and roll y historias de terror mañana a las 10. Don't go, Mick, okay? Let me just cut out the...
Oh, no, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, cool.
But also you can contact me